She didn't fall out of love with him. She optimized him out of her life. One rescheduled Tuesday at a time, in broad daylight, while eating a salad on her lunch break. No affair, no fight, no slammed door. Just a thumb, dragging a calendar event forward. Again, and again, and one more time after that. The marriage didn't end, it just kept getting pushed to next week. Tuesday, 12:47 p.m. The far edge of the company lot, the exact corner no one from work walks past, because she mapped the foot traffic months ago without admitting she was mapping it. The Honda is in park. The half-eaten salad sits in the passenger seat, like a witness she's trying not to make eye contact with. Her phone is open to the shared family calendar, and there it is again. R+L heart emoji, sitting on tonight's slot like a parking ticket she keeps meaning to pay. Her thumb hovers, then drags, then drops it onto next Tuesday. The little notification chime lands in the sunny silence like a coin into an empty jar. Third week in a row. She doesn't flinch. She doesn't even register that she did it. She just opens her work inbox, because 23 unread emails are louder than one rescheduled husband. Here is the script she's been running, on a loop, between bites of arugula she can't actually taste. Tuesdays are a terrible night anyway. She'll be wiped after the staff meeting. The kids will need rides. There's that thing with inventory on Wednesday morning, so really, she's protecting the connection by waiting for a better moment. A more honest moment. A moment where she has the bandwidth to actually be present with him, instead of half listening while folding laundry. Because he deserves better than that. Right? Right. That's the sentence she ends every internal monologue with lately. He deserves better than that. Said with the exact same tone she'd used to deny a return without a receipt. Polite, final, closed. Because here's the thing the martyr scale never tells her, the thing that makes the whole calculation work. A rescheduled date is responsible. A canceled date is failure. But a date pushed forever is somehow neither. It's pending. And pending things can't hurt her. Pending means she hasn't lost him yet. Pending means the verdict is still out. Pending means she's still in control of the timeline, even if the timeline is just evaporating, one Tuesday at a time, into the corporate parking lot air. She tells herself she's a planner, a pragmatist, a get-it-done woman who handles things. And she is. God, she is. She runs a 40-person retail team. She knows every kid's dentist appointment by heart. She has 3 grocery apps and a color-coded shared calendar and a backup plan for the backup plan. But she cannot, for the life of her, schedule 1 hour with her own husband. That gap is the whole story. She wipes a crumb off the steering wheel that isn't there. Her hand goes to the salad lid and snaps it shut, even though she's not done eating, because the click of plastic closing is the most satisfying sound she's heard all day. Something that shuts cleanly, something that latches when it's supposed to. And then, just for a second, her eyes catch on the emoji, the little pink heart next to R+L, and her brain skips a beat, the way a record skips when something underneath it shifts. She remembers putting it there, 3 years ago, a Sunday morning, in bed. Robert was making coffee in the other room, and she was setting up the new shared calendar on her phone because they'd missed his mom's birthday, and she'd cried about it in the shower, and she wanted a system that would protect them. And when she got to their standing Tuesday date night, she'd typed his name, then her name, and then, without thinking, without performing, without managing anything, she'd added a heart. Because it meant something. Because he meant something. Because Tuesday nights back then were the soft part of the week, the part she didn't have to run. She blinks, hard. The arugula tastes like wet paper now. And the woman who added that hard, where did she go? Because the woman currently sitting in this Honda, dragging it forward for the third week in a row, doesn't seem to know her, doesn't seem to recognize the gesture, looks at the little pink shape on the screen the way you'd look at a photo of yourself at 19, vaguely embarrassed by how much she believed in it. She tells herself, I'll bring it up this weekend. She has told herself this 47 times. Now, here is where the autopsy gets ugly. Because the easy story, the one she sells herself on the commute home, is that the romance died first and the project manager rose from its ashes to keep the household running. Tragic. Noble. Not her fault. The marriage cooled, so she stepped up. Somebody had to. But that's not what happened. Watch the order carefully. She didn't become the household's logistics hub because the romance died. She killed the romance by becoming the logistics hub. Cause and effect, in that order, not the other way around. And every Tuesday she drags forward is another shovel of dirt on a grave she's still pretending was somebody else's idea. Because here is the math her shadow self runs in the dark, the math she would never say out loud, the math that lives underneath the grocery apps and the carpools and the color-coded calendar. A wife can be rejected on a Tuesday night. A wife can lean in for a kiss and feel him pull back a quarter inch. A wife can ask, "Do you still want me?" and watch his face do the thing faces do when the answer is complicated. A wife is a vote, and a vote can go against her. But a logistics hub? A logistics hub is structurally indispensable. You don't reject the woman who knows the pediatrician's number by heart. You don't fall out of love with a woman who remembers your mother's birthday. You don't leave the operating system. You'd have to rebuild your entire life from scratch, and nobody has the bandwidth for that. So somewhere around year 14, she couldn't tell you the exact month, but her body could, she stopped trusting that the vote would go her way. And quietly, without announcing it to herself, without announcing it to him, she took the election off the calendar. She traded wanted for needed. And she called it being responsible. That is the hidden algorithm. That is the door she keeps locking from the inside while complaining about the lock. Every time she reschedules the heart emoji, she's not avoiding a date. She's avoiding a verdict. Every time she answers his "How are you?" with the dishwasher repair status, she's not being practical. She's being bulletproof. You can't break a woman's heart if she never gives you the soft side to aim at. The tragedy isn't that she's exhausted. The tragedy is that the exhaustion is the alibi. Because as long as she's the one holding it all together, she gets to skip the one conversation that actually scares her. The one where she stops being the manager and has to just be a person. A 45-year-old person sitting across from her husband of 2 decades, asking out loud whether the two of them still exist as anything other than co-administrators of a shared Google account. The cage she resents on her lunch break, the cage she cries about in the shower, the cage she'll vent to her sister about on Sunday. She built it. She paid for it. She locked it from the inside, and the keys are sitting right there in the same hand holding the salad fork. She just calls the keys responsibilities, so she never has to use them. She stares past the steering wheel at the building she'll have to walk back into in 11 minutes. And in that narrow, sunlit slice of nothing, she starts the argument she will never actually have. Out loud, in her head, in full HD. She rehearses Robert's face first, the exact face, the one he makes when she brings up something heavy, the half-second freeze, the eyes that go just slightly past her shoulder, the careful breath he takes before he says, "Okay, what's going on?" Polite, bracing, already managing her back. She watches herself walk through the front door tonight. She sets her keys down on the entryway table the way she always does. Same hook, same little ceramic dish. She doesn't take her coat off. That part is important. The coat is armor, and she's keeping it. She walks into the kitchen where he's reheating something, and before her better judgment catches up, she says it. "I don't know if you still want me, and I'm scared to find out." The sentence she has been swallowing for 2 years. Out loud, in her own kitchen, with the microwave still humming. And then, her brain refuses to write his next line. That's the part that breaks her every time she rehearses this. Her imagination. The same imagination that can map out a quarterly inventory plan in her sleep, goes completely blank on what he says back. Because either answer destroys her. If he says, "Of course I still want you," too fast, too rehearsed, the way you'd reassure a child, she'll know. She'll know it's been over for longer than either of them admitted. And she'll have to live in that house anyway, with that knowledge, like asbestos in the walls. If he says nothing, if he just looks at her with that careful, kind, exhausted face and doesn't answer, she'll have to be the one who decides what that silence means. And she's already decided, hasn't she? She's been deciding it on Tuesday afternoons for 3 weeks running. So she switches scripts. Path B plays smoother, cleaner, more her. She drives back to the office after lunch, finishes the inventory report, closes out her tabs at 5:47. On the drive home, she texts Robert about the dishwasher repair, asks if he picked up the thing from the pharmacy, signs off with a thumbs up. She walks in, she manages dinner, she manages the kids, she manages the dog. She does not, at any point, ask the question. The marriage stays alive, on paper, for tax purposes, for the grocery logistics, for the family photo on the fridge from 2019, when they all still looked at each other. And the woman who once added a heart emoji to a Tuesday goes quietly, politely, professionally extinct. One rescheduled date at a time, with no funeral, just a calendar that keeps emptying itself out. She sits in the Honda. The dashboard clock clicks forward. 11 minutes becomes 9, becomes 7. She chooses nothing, which is, of course, the choice. Her phone buzzes. 1 p.m. team meeting reminder. Her thumb is already moving, muscle memory, no thought required, dragging R+L heart emoji, one more Tuesday forward into the future, like she's sweeping a crumb off a counter. And under her breath, to nobody, to the windshield, to the woman in the rear view who she doesn't quite recognize anymore, she whispers it. "I'll bring it up this weekend." Honestly, she has said that exact sentence 47 times. She picks up her keys. She opens the door. She gets out of the car. The salad stays in the passenger seat, lid snapped shut, still half-eaten, still pretending to be lunch. She walks back across the parking lot toward the building. Her badge clicks against her hip with every step. The Honda sits there in the sun, locked from the inside, just like everything else.